Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Semen retention. So I want to harp on semen retention a little bit because, to be truthful guys, a lot of your wealth, a lot of the things that you will attract in life are in direct proportion to your ability to harness your creative and sexual energy. In life guys, like I'm gonna be 25 here in a couple months, right? And I've had a lot of experience with relapsing. I've had a lot of experience being crippled by just constantly, releasing my sexual energy. And I can tell you one thing, man. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's placebo or I don't know, it might be scientific or not. But there is a direct correlation to your ability to see clearly and direct your mind and attract good things into your life and your sexual energy, like being able to retain your seed as a man. I don't know what it is, but every time, or multiple times if I relapse or whatever, I start to see the world more as grim. I start to see it more as crippled, dying, and decaying. But it's so weird. When I retain, right, I start to see opportunity, abundance, the trees smell a little better, right? The air seems more pure, right? And obviously I'm speaking in metaphors here, but life just feels better, right? And the thing is with money, with all the things we want, we already are abundance, right? There is no shortage of money in the world, right? There's no shortage of knowledge in the world. There is no shortage of things to acquire, right? And when you're constantly busting nuts, right? You're constantly releasing your seed. You're losing your willpower, right? And you're also losing your willpower to direct your mind in the ways in which are best suited for your self-expression, right? So when you're draining your seed, right? When you're constantly watching porn, you're frying your brain, obviously, right? You're weakening your will, and you're also weakening your vitality and your creativity. So your creativity, right, is something that comes from your essence, right? And in the book Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill specifically talks about this in one of the chapters, saying that, your sexual energy is directly correlated to the thought vibration in your field of consciousness. If you notice, and you'd have to be not severely addicted, but you would have to be addicted to porn to know, when you're watching it and you're constantly releasing, your mind is more foggy. It's more like you have less ability to manifest your thoughts and direct them into effective action, right? And I just noticed that, especially over the past few months, when I'm able to retain, or when I, am on semen retention, right, and I'm, doing the right thing, I guess, I'm just much more able to attract money, attract things that I want, and attract good feelings also, right? Because a lot of times when we feel tired, right, that leads to what? Depression, right? When you're tired, that leads to anxiety, because when you're tired, your brain and your higher self knows, hey, a tired body and a anxious mind is not going to be able to manifest anything, right? And if you're tired, right, you're most likely going to fall into laziness and sloth, right? So if you're falling into laziness and sloth, you can't take action, right? Even if you have some good ideas, or you want to write a book, or you want to do something, right, that is not so easy to do, right? You're not going to be able to do it because you're tired and you're anxious. And when you're tired and you're anxious, right, you have that vibration associated with who you are. How are you going to be able to endure, doing difficult things like creating a book or creating something that's, requires a lot of mental fortitude and mental output, right? In these videos, guys, I'll be honest, I'm way more creative and I'm way more better, or I'm just a lot better at using different words and you know, you guys can probably sense that my voice is deeper, right? Some of my videos, I'm gonna be honest, when my voice is kind of misaligned or it's not direct, you can tell that, you know, I'm tired, or maybe I relapsed, right? And I'm not always upfront about it because it's, you know, it sucks, right? It sucks to admit that you struggle with certain addictions, right? Especially pornography being one of them, right? There's a lot of shame associated with it. And one thing I will say is your action is also, when you're an addict, it's stifled by your shame. You know what shame does? Shame weakens your confidence, right? And when you don't have confidence, you really don't have any power in life. You don't have any sort of like self-esteem about who you are and what you want to do, right? And it's tough because semen retention, or I'm sorry, shame, right, is a loop as well, right? So when you consistently relapse and you consistently feel shameful, right, that leads to more of a weakening of your confidence. And when you have a weakening of your confidence, then creativity, willpower, you know, enduring long work hours becomes almost impossible, right? And I can just notice it's not even really a subtle difference. It's an enormous difference. It's a lot easier for me to wake up in the morning, get out of bed, and do whatever, like, I know I want to do. You know, sometimes, like, after I relapse or when I'm really struggling, it's hard to get out of bed. You know, you could have the idea like, hey, I want to go create a video, or hey, I want to go to the gym, or hey, I want to even go for a walk, or even just clean around the house. A lot of times, you know, that stuff sounds so simple, right? But you know, when you're constantly draining yourself, right, those things become super hard to get to, right? And I don't know about you guys, but I want an advantage in life, right? Not over other people, but I just want an advantage in my ability to create, right? And I'm telling you right now that as a guy, right, I can speak on this because I've had experience with it. Your ability to retain your seed is it's the most foundational thing that you will have to master to become successful, right? Like, even myself, like, I think at times, like, yeah, man, like, I don't have to talk about semen retention, or I don't have to even practice it. But like, to become, like, I have these thoughts sometimes. I'm like, yo, I can just do whatever, and, you know, success is just about other things. But it really is tied to your testosterone. It's tied to your physical, your essence, right? Your energy. And unfortunately, pornography is honestly, I truly think it is the number one energy zap, right? It is so draining, right? And it is so crippling to your mind and your body that, like I said, everything that you desire in life pretty much becomes out of the picture and impossible if you're not, you know, able to get a grip at it, or at least progress over time, right? Like, you're not going to be, I made a video a few months ago talking about my 7-month streak, one of my longest streaks, right? And counting the days and everything. You know, you're not going to be able, some of you guys might be able to quit it cold turkey and be okay, right? But a lot of you guys, you know, God puts lust into man's life so he can learn the spiritual life, so he can learn virtue, and so he can also, you know, reach his full potential when it comes to material goods, acquiring material goods, so that he can live out his fullest expression. So, yeah, I mean, don't shy away, right? Especially, a lot of you guys are trying to acquire wealth, you're trying to acquire resources and make a lot of money, right? You're not going to be able to do it if you're not fully equipped with your manpower, right? You're not going to. It's just not going to happen, right? You'll be able to maybe put out some efforts here and there, but they eventually fizzle out. And I've noticed that in my life over the course of years. Like, sometimes it's easy to sustain effort, but a lot of times it's hard or extremely difficult when you're not fully equipped with your sexual energy. So, you know, you have to. And another thing too is sexual energy has to go somewhere. So you guys, you know, a lot of people talk about semen retention like it's something that, you know, like sexual energy doesn't, you can just retain your seed and you'll be okay and you'll manifest everything you want. No, it's literally a tool to use as a superpower to pretty much like rev yourself up, right? Like you're one of the characters that needs to get nerfed when you're on semen retention because you're so powerful, right? In a video game sort of metaphor. And like I said, it's I think once you master, or not once you master, because it's a constant process, but once you're on the path to mastering it and you really get in control of yourself and you're able to, you know, put out what you want and transmute the energy, right? I think second to that is obviously your health, right? Once you're able to retain your seed, once you're able to get on the path, you know, the next thing becomes mastering your health, right? And then when you're able to master those two things, right, and live out those two practices and, you know, do what you need to do, then life starts to bring you what you want, right? And even in the book Bliss of the Celibate, it says, one of the monks that they use in the book says that like you become nature's a slave to nature. Like nature just gives you whatever you want because you're abiding by the laws of nature, right? We're not designed to constantly release our seed like, you know, some scientifically minded folks like to say, right? We're, you know, they say we're like bonobos and we're designed to copulate with many different members of the opposite sex, and that's, and I mean, you can choose to live out that way, of course, right? But that's not what God intended man to do, right? That's a very weak expression of sexual energy. That's a very low expression of sexual energy, right? We have the ability to think. We have the ability to become conscious of God. We have the ability to bring things into our life with our thought vibration. And I think that's what God ultimately wants from us when it comes to our sexual energy. So anyways, guys, I hope that video has helped you. If this video has helped you, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. And as always, I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.